Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? My name is Kyle, you know me as Dragonmar, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about signs that your aim is holding you back. I wanted to get a little more abstract with this video. I wanted to talk about things that are not always so easy to see, more so habits and how you play the game rather than like your headshot percentage, your amount of kills per game, first bloods, things like that. So in this video, my goal is to point out player habits, things you do that are indicative, that indicate you are struggling with your aim. The idea here is to not correct your aim in one video, but to sort of open your eyes and have you guys do some self-reflection and say, okay, how many of these things do I do? Why do I do them? And is this part of a bigger problem? I think a lot of the times the way we play tends to minimize the things that we struggle with, which is the correct way to play, by the way. You want to minimize your mistakes. If you're bad at something, if you have a weakness, why would you ever play into your weakness? Play around it. That makes sense. But if we leave something like our aim untapped and unchecked for too long, we'll eventually get to a rank like I think I got to at one point in Immortal, where I can no longer compete in the aim duels and I lost all confidence. And I want you guys to never be in that situation. So that is my goal with this video. At the end of the video, I will go over my suggestions for who should aim train and how to aim train in Valorant with deathmatch. But I will be going over 8 signs in this video that your aim is holding you back. Hope you guys enjoy, and if you do, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and of course tap that bell. And also remember, I do stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Love to see you guys there, twitch.tv/Dragonmar. I'm probably live when you're watching this. And without any further ado, let's start the video, and I'd love to hear how many of you guys do these things. All right, enjoy. Now, the very first sign that your aim is holding you back is going to be something that happens to a lot of us, and that is that you are consistently taking the first few shots in a gunfight and still losing it. So this is very indicative of the fact that you are making smart plays. When you are able to get the first few shots onto an enemy player, that means that you are doing something right. You're able to catch them off guard, catch them in a bad position, or whatever, or you just have a faster reaction time. But if you're still losing the gunfights, this is a huge worry and something that needs to be addressed. The reason why this is so worrying is because the higher in rank you go, the bigger the deal this is. This is something that I had to deal with once I started hitting the high Immortal mark, especially at Immortal 3, where I was regularly playing with Radiance. The problem here is that when you miss the first few shots, the enemy does not give you another chance. They are going to headshot you the second they turn on you. And because of this, I had to work on this myself. I didn't realize it, but oftentimes I was making very smart plays with my game sense, but losing the fights because my aim wasn't on point. And so for a lot of people, you guys should be looking at yourself right now and thinking, okay, do I get the first shots on people? And for so many of you out there, the answer is yes, and you're still losing these gunfights. That is when you want to start looking at maybe some different types of aim training and some more focus on that as a huge way to improve. Sign number 2 is that you cannot win pistol rounds. This is something I think a lot of people overlook. Oftentimes people can just maybe throw away pistol rounds. They don't think too much of them. But in all honesty, pistol rounds sometimes are the purest form of gunfights in the game, especially because it normally ends up just being a ghost and classic in these rounds, which are 2 very straightforward weapons. Utility is extremely limited. Armor is very limited as well, which means you're going to die pretty quick. So players with better aim thrive in pistol rounds. If you are a player out there who has been struggling to win pistol rounds, like, you know, maybe you're on TSM or something. I'm just kidding. But no, in reality, I really do think that this is a good indicator that you are struggling with your aim, because once I started focusing more on deathmatch and even doing ghost only deathmatches, I immediately saw improvements in my pistol rounds. Getting 1 to 2 kills every pistol round is going to greatly increase your chances of not just winning a pistol round, but winning the entire game. These rounds often determine who wins the game, seriously. Very, very important here. So definitely look back at yourselves here, guys, and think, okay, how often am I winning pistol rounds? How confident am I in my pistol ability? Because this is a very pure form of raw mechanical aim. And if you're not good in these rounds, chances are you can't carry any aim over into the other rounds either. Sign number 3, and I know this is going to get to a lot of you guys. Most of your kills are from spraying. This is an indication that you do not have the first shot accuracy that probably you want in a game like Valorant, where 1 shot to the head kills. Spraying normally indicates that, you know, you're getting kills at the tail end of that magazine, you know, 20 bullets deep into a Vandal or a Phantom. At higher ranks, you're already dead. which is why it's so important for people to understand the value in burst fire, in 3 to 4 round bursts, aiming for the head, going for those headshots, learning how to strafe properly. Such an important part of the game. And oftentimes people will compensate at the lower ranks with spraying or even just crouch spraying, right? Trying to even control the recoil further. A huge bad habit, and definitely a good indication, a good sign that your aim is a problem and is probably holding you back. Sign number 4 is that you rely on your flashes or other abilities to secure your kills. Now, this is kind of a weird one because honestly, Valorant is not like a game like Counter-Strike where it's just pretty much pure raw mechanical aim. In Valorant, you do have abilities. So you're probably thinking, Kyle, why are you talking about this? Well, the keyword here is essentially rely, right? You rely on flashes and your abilities to get kills instead of your raw mechanical aim. Now, this does not mean that you can't play smart, use your nades, use flashes. No, of course not. You want every advantage you have. But if you find yourself relying on it, as in the only way you're getting kills in your rounds is with your Raze rocket, or with your Raze nade, or with a Phoenix flash on a blind enemy, and still then you're struggling to kill them. If those are the only ways you're getting kills, that says more about your raw mechanical aim and your confidence in that aim than it does about anything else. And that is a bad sign. You should not be getting the majority of your kills from abilities, a good portion of them, of course. But if the vast majority of your kills, if you are relying on your abilities for everything, that's a big problem, especially with duelists. But obviously, some agents, this does make more sense. Agents like Killjoy, agents like Cypher, even Sova, this makes a little more sense on. So this is a bit tougher, but remember, the keyword here is rely. If you're relying on your abilities, your flashes to secure kills rather than your actual aim, that could be a big problem. And guys, before we get into number 5, I just want to say a quick note. Just remember, these are all potential signs. These do not mean your aim is holding you back. If you find that you do 1 or 2 of these, you're probably fine. But honestly, this is more just for self-reflection and to make you guys think about this kind of stuff and potentially what could be holding you back. Because oftentimes, like I said, this stuff gets overlooked. But I just want to do a quick reminder here in the middle of the video that I am not saying your aim sucks and it's holding you back. I'm just trying to point out some of the possibilities, some of the signs that, hey, maybe your aim needs to be improved. But with that being said, number 5 is that you are happier to be traded rather than to get the trade kill. I actually was in this situation where I would have preferred dying as an entry frag than I would have preferred being the second one in and actually killing the guy who kills my teammate, getting the trade essentially. This is a really big indication that you see yourself as more of a asset or more of a shield or of a support to the team rather than someone who can reliably win gunfights. And this was at a time when I was not confident. This was at a time when I really did not feel myself with my aim. And so what ended up happening is I would be more than happy to run in first, throw my smokes, throw my flash on home, and just die for my team. And, we'd win rounds, of course, but I was never alive for it. And I think that really, I kind of had to take a step back at myself and say, why is this? And the honest truth was that I was not comfortable with my aim in these fights. And now I actually kind of hate being the one that gets killed first. I'll obviously do it because I understand the importance, but I much prefer myself being alive, being in these clutch situations. And I think I can attribute a lot of that to this sort of sign here. And this is what happened. This is just kind of my story with this, because I really feel like it's important to understand that, like, even people at higher ranks like myself still do a lot of these things and still have a lot of these same problems. Sign number 6 is a fun one. You avoid mid on most maps. Maps I'm talking about here, maybe like Icebox, really, if you want to get crazy, but more so Ascent. Definitely a map people tend to avoid. A little bit on Haven sometimes as well, but maybe not so much. Bind, obviously, this doesn't really apply, and Split, this doesn't really apply either. But if you find yourself avoiding the middle of maps, a lot of times it's because you're almost guaranteed to take an aim duel very early on in these positions. So players who are not confident, players who struggle with aim, tend to completely avoid these parts of the map, even when they are critical to hold, especially on Ascent. Why is that? Well, first and foremost, they're pretty long range. Think about how long range Ascent is. Honestly, one of the longest sightlines in the game. Obviously, like excluding the crazy ones on Icebox. It is so hard to hit shots if you're not confident, if you're not comfortable with your aim, if your aim is not up to par for your rank. Long range is very difficult for some people, especially those who rely on sprays, like I mentioned in sign number 3. So here, what we're seeing is suddenly your positioning is actually playing a huge role in how you take fights. And if you're not confident, you don't play certain positions. So I really want you guys to think hard about this one and think about the positions you play on maps. Are you playing certain positions because you do not feel comfortable with your aim? That I will leave you to answer. All right, getting a little obscure here, but sign number 7, you play Sentinels in ranked, but duelists in unranked. Now, I know a lot of us fall into this category just because duelists are so fun to play, but think about this. What agents are you guys playing in ranked? And those of you who do play Sentinels, are you playing them for the right reason? What I have found through coaching and what I have found through my VOD reviews is that a lot of people almost feel forced to play Sentinels, not because they want to or they like the agent or the playstyle, but because they don't feel comfortable enough with their aim to win the fights as a duelist. And one thing that's really important to remember is that that of course getting kills is not everything, but it's obviously very important for duelists. But there is more to it than that. Playing a duelist is also about taking on that entry fragger role, and like I was talking about with trading, sometimes getting the trade kill on your duelist who dies is just as good as him getting the kill. Opens up sights, easy, depending how good your post plan is, it can be very easy to defend. So what I want people to think about right here in this one is think about the agents you play and why you play them in ranked. If you are playing certain agents that have more ability focused kits to help you, things like Sova, things like Cypher, and also Killjoy, right? These agents very much rely on the information gained from their abilities to get kills. Think about why you play them. Is it because you like the playstyle or you don't feel comfortable with your aim? And finally, the last sign I want to go over is number 8, and that is that your best weapons tend to be SMGs and shotguns. This is something you see a ton at low ranks, iron, bronze, and silver. You see people just sitting on SMGs the entire game and running and gunning like they're playing Call of Duty. The reason you see this is because these weapons have a pretty forgivable spread, pretty nice running accuracy, and it allows players to not have to rely so much on headshots rather than the pure damage output of the sort of rapid fire of SMGs or of the bursts of the shotguns up close. So this is a big one. And if you are a player in those lower ranks and you find yourself opting to buy maybe a Spectre or a Stinger over the Vandal or over the Phantom sometimes, you might really want to consider what's actually going on and why you're making those choices. I don't think I have ever seen a player at high rank choose an SMG over any rifle. Any rifle. I'm obviously talking about the Vandal and Phantom, not Bulldog. Bulldog is a different story for another day. But this is a really big one here, is the weapons you guys are getting your kills with. If you do not find yourself getting many kills in rifle rounds, but getting a ton in eco rounds, your aim is definitely holding you back, right? I think that's very, very clear. So this is the final sign, and it's all about the equipment you use. What weapons are you buying and how you're getting your kills? This is something I think a lot of those low rank players really need to look at and really need to think about, because it is holding you back. And oftentimes you just kind of mask your inability to use the better and superior weapons with sort of the short-term gain of relying on such rapid fire, sort of easy to move with weapons like SMGs. Now we're done with the signs, but you're probably thinking, okay, are you gonna give us any advice? How can we work on our aim if we do a lot of these things? Great question. I'm gonna give you the advice that I will give to everyone, whether in a coaching session with me, coming to my stream, in my Discord, doesn't matter where. This is what I always say. If you are brand new to FPS games or have very little experience, under a couple years of FPS experience, you definitely will benefit from aim trainers. Very, very important to actually work on a routine and not just play aimlessly. Remember, doesn't matter how much time you put in if you're not actually trying to improve. You could put dozens and dozens of hours in and see no improvement because you're not really doing anything. You're just going through the motions. So I do recommend aim trainers, whether it's Kovacs or AimLab, does not matter to me. Do what you're comfortable with. Now, the real thing I want to talk about is deathmatch. Deathmatch, in my opinion, is the superior way to practice your aim training even and also it tends to be better when you pair it right after doing an aim trainer too. What I always recommend to people is you are going to use either the Vandal or the Phantom. It's completely up to you. You will only go for headshots. You never want to take a body shot if possible. Only headshots. You go for 3 to 4 round bursts only. Absolutely no spraying. And for a lot of you, you want to unbind your crouch key as well. That's it. That is what I recommend the most. That is what has helped people the most. That is what has got the most positive feedback from my community so far, and everyone I've told it to, it seems to help. It is what I tried to do when I was trying to get better. Obviously now I just spray everybody because but no, seriously, it's really, really useful because what you're doing, first of all, going for headshots only, you're training crosshair placement. One of the biggest things I talk about is crosshair placement. Headshot only accomplishes that. Then burst fire. What are we training here? We're trying to take away the reliance on sprays. If you can get good at acquiring those first shot headshots, you never have to worry about sprays. Then unbinding crouch, you know, if you are a serial croucher, this is generally a good idea. You really want to get out of that habit. It does get you in a lot of troubles, especially at long range. And you're probably thinking, okay, why not a Guardian, right? Why not a single fire weapon? Simple answer, you never use that in your games. Why would you practice with it? You're not looking for one taps. I don't want you guys going in here looking for one taps. You're not Scream. You want to secure kills, and the most efficient way to do that is with burst fire. That's what you want to practice with. And guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on stream, twitch.tv/Dragonmar. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like. Let me know what you want to see next, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy, happy holidays, and peace.